today. Clinton Otwell will be our clerk for this hearing. This hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available afterwards through a link on the San Francisco Public Works website at sfpublicworks.org. As this is a virtual hearing, there's no sign-in sheet today, so if you'd like to receive information on the results of the hearing, please send an email to the email address on the hearing notice. This public hearing is being held to consider 3 items today. The 3 items on our agenda are order number 204103 for the location of 2 food trucks. The second item is order number 204114 for a minor sidewalk encroachment permit at 645 Peralta. And the last item is order number 204162 for Treasure Island Avenue of the Palms, superseding a previous public works order. So as my job as the hearing officer is to gather the facts from the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make his determinations. I will not be making any determinations or decisions at the hearing today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director, and the Director will be making the final determinations. When the Director's determinations are made, the department will notify you if you have provided your contact information. The hearing will proceed as follows for the 3 cases today. I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I'll allow the property owner or applicant to speak. Then any member of the public or witness who would like to speak. Then the department, if the department would like to address any comments. And then the property owner or applicant again, if there's any additional comments. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining. If you are a party to the proceeding, I will call on you to speak. If you'd like to use any visual materials in your presentation, please let us know before you speak, and then you'll have 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you are a member of the public or a witness who wants to speak, wait for us to call for public comments, and then use Zoom's raise your hand feature if you're on a computer to put yourself in the queue. As Clint mentioned, if you're dialing in on a phone, please dial *9 to indicate you're raising your hand to speak. And when it's your turn to speak, if you are muted, please press *6 to unmute yourself. And again, let us know if you have any visual presentation you would like us to show. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you can't finish your comments within the allotted time frame, you may submit written testimony to me at the end of the meeting, at the end of the hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will then close the item. We will now begin the hearing. So the first item on the agenda is order number 204103, 2 food truck locations. This, let's see. This will be considering an application from Buenafe for the operation of a mobile food facility in the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 220 Rankin Street and also at 750 Phelps Street. Public Works staff may now make their presentation.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Nicholas Persky, representing San Francisco Public Works Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just want to give a quick overview of permit 20 MFF-00001 applied for by Buenafe. If approved, the permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 220 Rankin Street with a food truck operating Monday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., as well as 750 Phelps Street operating Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The applicant submitted its application to Public Works on January 22nd, 2020 for the 2 locations of 220 Rankin Street and 750 Phelps Street. After review of the proposed site plans for compliance with all the Public Works Code and Public Works Order requirements, Public Works accepted the site plan for both of the locations on February 18th, 2020. Following approval of the site plans, Public Works sent out a notification as is required by section 184.88 of the Public Works Code on October 19th, 2020. The applicant also posted a physical notification at both of the locations on November 7th, 2020, for which pictures were sent to Public Works. In response to public notification, Public Works received 2 letters of objection prior to the deadline of November 18th, 2020 to submit comments. One objection was related specifically to the 750 Phelps location, and another objection was broader to both of the locations in the application. And it's those 2 objections that have subsequently led to today's hearing. So that concludes my remarks on the permit, and I'm certainly available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Can you just give a quick highlight of some of the objections raised in the public?
Certainly. Yeah, let me pull them up. So one of the objections what was from a similar business in the area, and the primary concerns were related to the new food truck, like presenting competition concerns to the business. And then the other objection was from a neighborhood group, and they had concerns about the 750 Phelps location being too proximate to the businesses on 3rd Street and having other taquerias close by. The reason why we did, approve the site plans for both of these locations is that the Public Works Code requirements for like proximity to other restaurants is the only one is a 75-foot radius requirement to other brick and mortar restaurants. And then as far as proximity to other mobile food facilities, those actually aren't captured by the 75-foot rule within the code. There is a provision within the code that says if there's more than 3 mobile food facilities on the same block, that is a factor that can at least be considered by a hearing officer, during a public hearing. But for both of these block segments, there aren't more than 3 mobile food facilities. So that's why we approved both of the site plans and allowed them to move forward with the notification process.
Thank you, Nicholas. Is there any public comment on this item?
If you want to raise your hand, if or the member, the applicants are here and would like to speak, just raise your hand. If you're coming in by phone, do *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute, and we can allow for a little bit of a delay. I see we do have some callers, and I believe there was someone with a phone 988 that originally came in. They looked like they were in a food truck, so if you're
Okay.
on, go ahead and.
Right, the next speaker would be the applicant.
Yeah. I just want to make sure they have an opportunity
Sure.
to come back to them. Nick, do you know by any chance the names of the applicants, or did they?
Yes, I believe the name of the applicant is Gerardo Ulloa.
Okay.
We invited. Oh, I do see a hand raised.
All right, so it's Milu, and go ahead and unmute. Go ahead.
Hi, I work with Gerardo Ulloa. I'm his bookkeeper. I know he mostly speaks Spanish, so he asked me to be on this call with him. So he also was a little bit confused as to, why when he went to Public Works, they approved these locations and they said that it was fine, that it met the, the minimum 75-foot rule. And, we actually were searching on the maps, like really, there's not that many Mexican restaurants on 3rd Street. And obviously for like the 3-4 restaurants that are there, it is a little bit of competition. But again, I mean, what isn't a competition? If you look down Mission, there's so many restaurants there. And I don't know that they have these sort of hearings or not. I'm really not aware with this procedure. But looking at the neighborhood, we do feel that there need to have more options. Not everybody can drive all the way to 3rd Street. There is a lot of homes, and actually I know a few businesses that will probably benefit from having a food truck nearby instead of having to drive or walk somewhere else. So those were the main things that my client wanted to highlight. Y Gerardo, si quiere decir algo en español, maybe I can translate. I know maybe he doesn't. I know he's on the call.
So if there's anybody else, just if you want to let them know to use the raise your hand feature. If you want to speak,
Okay. Si
if
alguien
not,
quiere decir algo en español, puede levantar la mano. Hay un icono que dice raise hand para hablar. Si no, creo que ya no van a haber comentarios.
Yep, we have them. And then I'm going to ask him to unmute. Go ahead and push *6 to unmute. *6 to unmute.
Do you want me?
There he is. Go for it. We can hear you.
Okay. So, mis intenciones solamente es trabajar y no quitarle ningún cliente a nadie. So, yo sé que mucha gente está afectada por lo del COVID. Hubo unos comentarios que hubo de la gente que se quejó, y yo también tengo más de un año con mi troca sin poder trabajar por lo mismo. So, yo solo quiero saber que estoy haciendo las cosas bien y es todo.
Okay.
The lady that was the bookkeeper. Yeah, go ahead. You were muted.
So Gerardo said that that he's aware of the complaints and that all he wants to do is work. He, like everybody else in the city and in the world, have been affected by COVID, and it's not his intention to be a threat to anyone. He just wants to work like everyone else. And yeah, and that's all that he wants to do, is have an opportunity to work. That he also was affected greatly by the situation, and there were many months that he wasn't even able to open or make very little money a day. So that was the reason why he applied for 2 locations, and that is it.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Clint, do you see any?
There is nobody in the of the attendees have their hand up. So with that, we'll move on to the next hearing, next item, I believe.
Okay, if there's no comments for this item, we will close this item and move on to the next. The next item is order number 204114, 645 Peralta. This is to consider an application for a minor sidewalk encroachment permit. I will now ask Public Works staff to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi.
We can hear you, Andy. Do you have any materials to share? Because we're going to promote you to a panelist.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Andy, it will have muted you when you switched you over to a panelist, but now you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep, got it. I will share screen real quick.
Sure, go for it.
Can everyone see the screen?
Not yet.
Still not yet, or
No, not yet. That's okay. Take your time, please.
Yep, no problem.
Technology at its finest. If you want to send it to me real quick in email, Andy, I can share it.
Yep, let me send it to you really quick then.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're just waiting to get some materials up on the screen.
Should be just sending right now.
There it is. I have it. And you want the
Both items, but the plan first.
okay. Okay, does everyone see the plan?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, my name is Andy Zhao, and I'm representing Bureau of Street Use and Mapping under Public Works. Our office received a minor sidewalk encroachment permit on January 29, 2019 for 645 Peralta Avenue. The permit is to replace the existing 2-foot wide by approximately 50-foot long concrete staircase with a 4 feet wide concrete staircase with handrail and a 5 feet level landing at the end with 42-inch high guardrails. The existing encroachment is currently on Mayflower Street along the frontage of the subject property. After review and determination that the design was acceptable to Public Works, notification of the public hearing was sent out on January 11th, 2021 to property owners within 150-foot radius of the boundaries of the subject lot. During the notification period, we received 1 support letter and 1 general inquiry. The support letter is as follows. I'm writing in support of an application for minor soil encroachment permit for 1 concrete staircase fronting property of 645. I reviewed the plans for proposed work and feel it would add to Mayflower Street and make it more orderly and developed while maintaining the urban garden feel. Over the last several years, the property owner has worked with us neighbors in reclaiming this unpaved street, which was very unkempt. I have no doubt that the addition of this staircase will spur us all to continue the stewardship of this oasis. And then there was a general inquiry about the current existing path of Mayflower. Clinton, if you can switch to the other one now.
yeah, 1 second. Okay, I have the next item, Andy. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Andy.
So currently the path through Mayflower Street from Franconia to Peralta is staircase on the bottom right of the image you see, the bottom right square. And then the staircase is open-ended. And then in the middle area, there's a dirt area, which you can transverse to the north side of Mayflower Street, where it's named staircase along the 645 Peralta Avenue. And this staircase is also open-ended, and that is the existing currently. The proposed encroachment would effectively cut off that open area, and that was the inquiry was asking about. And they spoke to the property owner and had it resolved. The project team had alerted me that they would actually be amending this current staircase design to keep it open-ended. And revisions will be sent in the future for the new design. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Andy. So just a question. So the original staircase design was closed off at the end, but it has been since revised to be open?
It is currently the plans that I have are closed off at the end, but after the general inquiry, they spoke to a property owner. The project team has spoke to the property owner and decided that they will be amending the current design to keep it open-ended, but I have not yet received designs for it yet. Mhm.
Okay. And then no changes are proposed for the staircase at the bottom of the diagram?
No, the only encroachment is the staircase along 645 Peralta on top. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know the length of the new staircase?
It'll be approximately the same length, around 50 feet.
50 feet. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I would like to invite the project sponsor or applicant to speak.
All right, if anyone is, okay, we have Garrett. So Garrett, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, I'd just like to say that I'm actually a contractor for the owner, for the applicant. So there is a dirt walkway going up the middle of that block and always has been, and people have been using it. The stairs that was there was, it was non-conforming, it was haphazard, it was basically dirt as well. It was concrete pads as opposed to a concrete walkway. So keeping this guy open, we kind of feel that it may cause some issues for the owner in that it's kind of an attractive nuisance, seen as it's not a fully habited block. And initially, the owner did not want to have this sidewalk open through because, again, it's an attractive nuisance. I don't know if you guys live up around Burnley Hill, but anywhere there are mid-space open blocks like this, there is, you know, homeless encampments start up there. I mean, they get moved on pretty quickly. People, you know, they're breaking into houses, use them for trashing gear. I mean, you have kids throwing parties. So yeah, so the owner is leaving it open-ended to get the permit because he was afraid he wasn't going to get the permit to have access to his lower unit, basically. So it's in hardship that he is leaving this open-ended, but he still has agreed to leave it open-ended. I just wanted to voice that. Make any sense?
Yes, thank you, Garrett.
Okay.
And so will your team be providing a revised drawing to Public Works staff?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when?
Showing the stairs open at the lower section, yes.
Do you know when we could expect that?
And well, we don't. That decision was only made this morning, so I will have to talk with the designer, whoever actually does the drawings. I believe it was a civil engineer, so should have it. Well, hopefully we can get them to turn around within a week.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? I see a hand raised.
Okay, it looks like we have Eli. Go ahead and unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Great. Hi, my name's Eli. I am the property owner. And just to build a bit onto it, what Garrett had said, since, I mean, this has been going on for years, and I did think this, we'd already crossed this threshold with it being closed off. And during that time, I've been working with all of the surrounding neighbors of Mayflower, and we've been working on trying to get city support to come in and do some of the landscaping and some terracing of the physical Mayflower area. And part of this conversation and part of this work has been putting in a path and putting in access, more wandering through. To Garrett's point, there is already an existing trail. And the little path that was down the side of my house was actually, I mean, it was just really sketchy, and it was right along the side of my house, and it went down. And to Garrett's point of the nuisance, I mean, there was a couple break-ins. It just really having that path right down the side of my house was not conducive. And now that I've worked on this densification by putting in the second unit, I'm now putting a corridor directly in front of 2 windows and a door for this existing new unit, which just wasn't on the plans and was certainly not what I was hoping for throughout the few years that this project's been going on. And to Garrett's point, I also just heard about the shift. So it's still a bit raw, and it's a pretty significant shift to me right prior to this conversation.
Thank you, Eli.
Okay, do we have anybody else want to speak? Please use the raise your hand feature. And that's *9 if you're dialing in. *6 to unmute. I see no one going once. All right, go ahead, John.
I just have one more question for Public Works staff, Andy.
Yep.
Andy, you had shared that there might have been a proposed alternative arrangement.
So yes, they did provide me a sketch that runs through the middle of Mayflower Street. I can send it over really quick. It's a sketch that proposes to basically have a curved path through the middle, or it's just a path through the middle of Mayflower. But there were no concrete designs of how that was going to be approached. I can send it to Clinton real quick.
Andy, so you're sending that over as well?
Correct. Give me a second.
Okay, 1 second and I'll get that up. Thank you, everyone.
And Andy, you were also saying, and what we're talking about is that the proposed change to this stairway would, as of today, recommended by Public Works staff, is to keep it open and connect to that existing dirt path that connects the lower stair.
Correct. That would not require any other like permits. It would still be under the minor site encroachment, and it would propose to leave it open-ended so that there is a path of travel from Franconia to Peralta.
Okay.
So this was the sketch that was provided to me, but there were, so in terms of this sketch, the existing area is basically occupied by dirt and landscaping. So there's no concrete details regarding this yet, but this was the sketch that was provided by the property owner.
But I guess a question for the contractor and property owner, Eli or Garrett, is this sketch that it sounds like one of your team provided, are you considering some kind of design like this? Let's see, Eli's hand is up.
Yeah, this is, can you hear me? This is really sort of an existing path that is just a trail that, since the stairway has been blocked for a year plus, has just kind of organically become access. And this is basically representing the winding of a dirt trail. There's some terracing and there's some, once we do more landscaping, once the actual construction's done, the intent is to make it, a bit more built out, but still really being a dirt path that continues. And where it sort of swoops back up towards my property at the top, that is really that landing place that Andy was referencing before, where the dirt is that sort of connects the two. So it's just sort of circumventing that sidewalk and keeping it within the garden. But then that path, once at the bottom, becomes the same as it was before.
I see. So that diagram references an existing dirt winding path on that lot?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and it looks like we have Garrett also has his hand up. So Garrett, go ahead.
I don't. Okay.
Garrett, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to say as well that it's pretty much a neighborhood garden. I mean, it's the neighbors that have been maintaining that part of the block. I actually live on the same block myself, and we've all been maintaining that for several years, for 20 years, I guess. And I mean, all the neighbors here are in favor of the whole thing.
Thank you. Are there any additional public comments on this item? I see none, so we will now close this item and move on to the next item. The final item is order number 204162, Treasure Island Avenue of the Palms. This is a Public Works order that would supersede and replace Public Works orders numbers 204157 and 204151. We're going to be reviewing a revised tentative final map. I will ask Public Works staff to make their presentation.
Hello.
Good morning.
I can jump off this now, right? I'm still on.
Okay, go ahead, James.
Good morning, James Ryan, acting city and county surveyor for Public Works. This tentative map application requests approval for a merger and 4-lot subdivision of lots 11, F, J, and P of final map number 9235. All testimony and materials, including but not limited to the development agreement, the Treasure Island and Yerba Buena Island disposition and development agreement, the 2015 Treasure Island and Yerba Buena Island Streetscape Master Plan, staff reports, comments, responses, and other information from other concerned governmental agencies and utilities, and the information submitted by or on behalf of the subdivider, and other comments, responses, and information provided in connection with this application have been considered. We have requested this hearing to allow any interested party to provide additional comment for consideration. Public Works recommends that the tentative map application number 10711 submitted on August 18, 2020 be approved subject to compliance with the city agency findings and conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So the staff recommendation is that the map amendments be approved subject to compliance with requests from city agency staff.
Correct.
Okay. Is the project sponsor here available for presentation or comments?
We have about 3 people in the attendees. If anyone wants to make comment, use the raise your hand feature, which is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute your phone. We'll give technology a minute to, we have Garrett. Okay. Garrett.
Is anyone from Treasure Island?
Yeah.
Here?
We have Garrett, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, hearing officers. Sway. Are you able to hear me? Sorry. Oh.
I think Garrett was having some audio problems. Go ahead. I think you're muted. Go ahead, Garrett.
Okay. Apologies. Are you able to hear me now?
If you hear some feedback.
Yeah, if you're connected like on 2 different devices, you'd want to have to mute one of them. Is usually how it works. I'm familiar with that that feedback, so it happens to all of us. Whenever you get it, just go ahead and unmute.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes. Thank you, Garrett.
Great. Hearing officer, my name is Garrett Coley. I'm a lawyer at Perkins Coie in San Francisco, and we represent Treasure Island Development Group. Not intending to make a formal presentation today, but if there's any questions that are directed for the applicant, I'm happy to answer those.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett. Are there any public comments on this item? I don't see any. Clint, do you see any? Okay, if there are no more public comments for this item, I will close this item.
But if he raises his hand again, then.
Okay, let's see. I don't see any hands raised. Did someone say they did see?
I don't see any hands up. We can give it a few minutes. Once again, that's *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. We only have 2 attendees in the room, and it looks like Garrett has offered for Treasure Island. Any questions? And Garrett, did you want to provide your email in the chat, or email the hearing officer, or provide us with your email if you'd like. And I believe We'll sort of go going once, going twice, and we'll turn it back to John to close out the hearing.
Okay, we see no more comments for this item, so we'll close this item. Now, does any attendees have any public comments on any of the items on the agenda today? If you have spoken, you will not be allowed to speak again. This is for those who might have come late and didn't have a chance to speak previously. I don't see any hands raised.
I don't see anything either. I guess we can go ahead and close, John, if you want to.
Okay, we will now close today's hearing. Thank you, everyone.